Have you ever been to a dark room type setting that like is all of that just not dark? I hadn't either until I went to Puerto Vallarta, and while I was there, I found this place called Studs Bar that was like literally everything I had been looking for the entire week that I was there. I wish that I had found it sooner. I go into this bar and like it was pretty dead at the time. It was off season. And the music was bumping. It was like deep tech house, which is my kind of music. So I was like, all right, cool. Like, let's all hang out here. I had a whole bunch of guys that were like with us. And so pretty much anywhere we went, it was turning into a party anyways. I knew that this was more of a like free type of bar to like really do whatever you want than most of the other bars were in Puerto Vallarta. But I didn't really realize to what extent until the end of the night. The first night we got there was underwear night, right? And like most people were standing around not in their underwear, which I was really confused about. So I immediately go to the coat check. I take off everything except for my jock strap. I check everything else, and I'm like just cruising around in my underwear. The only person on the dance floor just vibing because I don't give a fuck. And I swear, it always takes just one person to get things started. So like within 20 minutes, the place is like everybody's in their underwear. Everybody's in jock straps and harnesses and stuff like that. Everybody's on the dance floor having a great time. So it was exactly the vibe I was looking for. And then as the night went on, we're continuing to dance and stuff like that. And like to my surprise, there's kind of like a little like dance floor area that we're all at, and like a bar over here to the right, to the left. And then to the right, there's like just like a slightly little raised up area with like a little railing guarding it. And like, it's not dark, it's totally visible. And all of a sudden I look over and people are just starting to basically go at it right there in front of everyone. I was like, oh shit, like, okay, like not what I was expecting, but that's cool. I've actually had a few like bad darkroom experiences, so I was a little nervous to like get involved at first. But then I saw this like group of a few guys who were just very dreamy, just to say the least. And I couldn't resist. So I go on over and I like join in with these guys on having a little bit of fun. I was nervous at first, like don't get me wrong. I mean, there's some other guys that I really didn't want to get into it with. Like they just weren't really my type, and like a huge group setting just kind of made me nervous at the time. And like, you know, there's other guys who are kind of like watching and stuff, and that made me a little nervous too. Like now I'm at the point where stuff like that doesn't bother me as long as there's clear like boundaries set, and I'm comfortable that like certain people aren't just going to come up and like touch me without my permission. But after going there a few nights, I realized that like the fact that it's not completely dark and the fact that it's almost more visible by everyone kind of stops that stuff from happening. All the stuff that I really don't like about dark rooms like just doesn't happen there. So over a few nights time, I got more and more comfortable. I mean, by the end of it, we were going there with like 30 plus guys, and like everybody plus some other people who were there were like all getting involved in fun, and it was a great time. You could get involved with who you wanted to. You didn't have to with who you didn't want to, and I felt comfortable with people who watching who wanted to watch. I mean, with my job, you got to be comfortable with people watching, right? But like it's a little different online versus in person. So needless to say, I had a great time. I accomplished my mission like multiple times over multiple nights, and I've been dying to go back. Well, it just so happens that I'm going back to Puerto Vallarta this Sunday. I'm going to be there for a whole week. I'm going with VACAYA, which is like an LGBT resorts and cruise lines that I've actually started promoting for. I love this company. Like they have the exact same, actually classier type of setup at their place. And then not only that, but Studs Bar has actually heard my stories on here about them, and they reached out to me and they were like, hey, like we've seen that you've been DJing now. Like I have been. My DJ name is Captain Chaos with 2 capital K's. So they asked me if I'd want to come DJ a set there, and I was like, fuck yeah, I do. Of course I do. So I'm DJing my first night there on Sunday night. I'm pretty sure I'm just gonna wear like a jock strap and a harness and I don't know, something to make it Halloween-y. And I'm hoping to like have some fun there. I'll make some more stories, but I also know that after that, I'm gonna go back to VACAYA's place and get to go out onto their like yacht that they're having, like anchored offshore. They're gonna literally ferry guests back and forth for their own type of setup like that. That's like, you know, kind of like a darkroom type scenario, but with a lot of specific rules and like consent guidelines and everything that makes me feel comfortable like exploring in those types of settings that I normally wouldn't want to take part in. VACAYA calls it their red light district. Studs calls it, I don't know what, just part of Studs Bar. Either way, I am so excited to like go get to explore and have fun and experience these type of like free open spaces with other gay men who are also open-minded and just interested in being able to be themselves while respecting other people's boundaries. It is hard to find places like that. If you've never been to Puerto Vallarta, or you've never been on a VACAYA trip, highly recommend checking it out and checking out Studs Bar. I'm pretty sure VACAYA's next trip is like a Caribbean cruise. I'll know more soon, so I'll keep you guys posted, and I hope you guys enjoyed this story.